Hello again, and in part 2 of this video, we're going to start combining our different animations that we created in the last video into one particular scene. Now, we can start off by working in this file that has the alien block animation and then just import the Exos animation into this one. But before I do that, I want to save this as a new file. So instead of alien characterized animated, we'll call this fight clip. Alright, so we have flight clip all created here. And what we're going to end up doing here is saving this. And now that we have fight clip created, what we'll do from this point on is start bringing in our other animations. So this is already the alien characterized animated. What we want is the Exo Red characterized animated to be a part of the scene as well. So I'm going to drag and drop him out of my asset browser into here and do an FBX merge with all takes. So FBX merge all takes. So what we'll do is merge the two files together. And we've got the Exo here. And his punch animation should show up in here in the take. So if I hit play, we've got him playing his punch animation, which is great. And then if I switch over to block, we'll see we have the alien playing the block animation. So one of the problems we have is that both characters are in the same position, they're lined up with one another, and we want to be able to move them around and reposition them. And this can all be achieved through the story mode. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot both of their animations to control rigs here. So I'm going to go to block, make sure I have my alien selected, and I'm going to go to plot to control rig, FKIK. And we have the animation plotted onto a control rig, which is great. And I'll go to punch, and you'll see punch doesn't have a control rig. And so I'll select the Exo and go to plot to control rig. And that should have now the control rig, the editable control rig on our Exo, which is great. Now we're going to want to create a new take. So I'm going to click on the take 002 new, and it's going to ask if I want to copy data from the current take. No, I don't. No, I don't want to copy any data from that take. And you'll see now I'm on take 2, and there's no animation happening there at the moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this take. We'll call it fight clip. Alright, so we have fight clip set up as a take, and what we're going to do now is use the story mode to compose these two characters fighting with one another. So the story panel is here, and we're going to have to insert a couple of character animation tracks. So I'm going to right click down into this panel below and go to insert character animation track, and I'm going to add 2 of them because we want one for each of the characters. And from here we'll select our 2 different characters. So I'll put the alien up top and the Exo at the bottom here in the tracks. So now that we have those, what we could do is take our takes and insert them as clips here. So I'm going to jump to block, which is the alien. And if I scrub through now, we should see the alien is playing. And I'm going to right click this animation take and go to insert current take. Right click and then go to insert current take, and you'll see that it adds that block animation as a clip here. Okay, and what I could do now is go to the punch, right click and insert current take. And you can see here it says the merged animations from multiple layers will be inserted. That is okay. And you see that it adds the punch here. So if I jump over to fight clip, right, which had no animation previously, we should see that both of their animations are playing simultaneously at the moment. Perfect. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is start adjusting these characters' positions. So we want to take one of the characters, rotate it around so it's facing the other. So to do that, we're going to click on the little eyeball icon here that's inside of the character's layer. And you can see now I can kind of move him around wherever I want him to go. I put him way up here. And if I scrub through, he plays his animation up there. So just using the normal transforms here, I'm going to back it up a bit here so he's still on the ground. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate him so that he's facing our exo. And I think I'm also going to move the exo a little bit away from there so that we can kind of have this centered around the scene, around the middle of the scene. And now we have them both facing one another and kind of doing their thing. Alright, so next thing we have to do is start adjusting the timing here. So you can see he throws up the block and the exo punches after the block. So we want to sync the block with the punch so that he catches, basically the alien catches the punch in his hand. So here I am at this point in the punch. I think I'm going to sync this based off of the punch animation. So let's go down the line in the punch animation to where the exo finishes his punch right here. Okay, so if you notice here, the exo's got his first punch being thrown here. What we want to do is we want to sync up that block. So to sync it up, we can actually take this clip and adjust it. So I can actually bring it to the beginning and start scrubbing through. And there it is, right there where he throws his hand up. So we want it to sync right there. So now the timing for that first clip is there. Perfect. I think maybe we would want to shift it a little bit. Oops. Right there. Oh. There we go. Right there. Okay. So we have both clips synced now. And I just want to hit the play button. Alright, cool. And I mean, the rest of the punches don't really line up or sync up as well. So we're just going to focus on that first punch right now. Alright, so rewinding the transport controls a bit here. I think I want the clip to end right about there, which is around frame 74. Okay, frame 74 on mine. So what you can do now is we can trim off the remaining animation that we don't need. So to do that, you select your clips in the story mode, and there's this razor blade icon here in the story mode. And what it'll do is it'll split these into two clips that you can then separate and do other stuff with. But we're just going to delete these out of here. So I'm going to delete each of those out of here. And if there were other animations that we wanted to add to this, we could add them to here. Alright, so I have these two clips fairly well set up. I'm going to adjust the position of the alien a bit so that the hand gets a little bit closer to the fist here. So I'll select the block here, and I'm just going to move his character forward a bit. So now when we scrub through the timeline, you can see he kind of meets the fist a bit better. Now it doesn't line up 100%, but we're going to fix this in just a second once we kind of have everything settled in story mode where we want it to be. Alright, so I think that's pretty much it for now. I think that's pretty much where I want him to be in story mode. Now we can select the animation layer if we would like, and select his wrist. I got the exo selected. I want the alien selected here, and I want to select his wrist. And what I want to do now, oh yeah, that's right. We're not going to be able to, we're not going to be able to move this while we're in story mode. So we're going to have to plot this back to the take. Right, so I think that they're pretty much where we want them to be right now. So let's plot this back to the fight clip take. So what I'll do is I will right click, inside of the transport controls here, and then go to plot whole scene to current take. And I'll hit plot. And now what should happen is if I hit the mute button here on these two animations, that means that the animations are still doing their thing, and the story mode isn't driving this particular clip anymore. So now what I should be able to do is make adjustments to these guys' animations. So I'm going to shut off the display for the rig for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here in the scene a bit. And I'm going to key the wrist right about here. So I'm going to hit the key button here. And when we get up to here, we're going to want to reposition his hand a bit. So reposition it here, move it down like that, and reposition the hand so it really meets the fist there. So I'm going to key it, and what we should have here is a pretty nice lineup with the hand. Now what I want him to do is also close his hand around the fist, right? So I could do that if I grab his controls here for his fingers on that hand. And I'm going to change this to local rotation and just bend his fingers in like that. Now we're going to do something called reverse keying here to key the initial state to make his hand a little bit more snappy. And I think his thumb's in a good spot. His thumb's in almost the perfect spot for me. So I'm going to leave his thumb alone. And I'm going to key these two values here. So the two controls here. So just hit key. Now what's going to happen is his hand's going to be kind of closed already. So what we'll do is we'll go backward to about several frames before the animation, right? And I'll open his hand up. So we're going to put a key ahead of this, and I'll hit key here. So what should happen now is when the fist takes place, his fingers close. So it's a pretty cool technique, and if you need to adjust the timing, you can always move these keys around and so forth to get little short movements there. Alright, so I think we've got this pretty well composed to where we want it. And you can see we did this fairly quickly using some canned animation here. So what I want to do now is basically save this. I'm going to save this file. We already have it saved as fight clip, so I'm just going to go to File Save. And then from here, what we'll do is we'll set up some cameras, set up some audio, and render out the shot. And we'll do that in the next video.